¿Cómo talevú? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? And 안녕하세요. Welcome everyone to the Governance Capacity Development Session Series for strengthening public governance and accelerating innovation to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, co-organized by UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs and Seoul National University. I'm John Song, Deputy Director of Seoul National University's Global Research and Development Business Center, GRC, and I'm honored to moderate today's session. Actually, today's session is the last session professionals in terms of having all the insight of the governance related to sustainability and environmental and social governance. So today's session is about fostering global startups and enhancing entrepreneurship education for SDG implementation. We believe the next generation business leaders should possess ability of maintaining the equilibrium of inclusive economic growth, social equity, and environmental sustainability. Entrepreneurs and startup business leaders educated and shaped with the mindset of SDGs and ESG shall form the backbone of societies that can lead sustainable social progress and improvement that can benefit all. This session will present the basic reasons why a new educational model based on SDGs and ESG for entrepreneurs and startup business seekers is needed, and explain how such educational model can be mainstreamed and implemented in actual academic courses and programs in a real university, vocational, and also social environment. As well, best practical models of turning the themes and knowledge of ESG into educational contents will be explored and discussed, providing participants with opportunities of discovering and developing creative and innovative ideas on the schemes, methods, content, modalities, and outcomes of the new startup and entrepreneurial education. I would like to congratulate everyone who is qualified and who will be qualified at the end of this session for the certificate of achievement. So in order to get the certificate from this session series, you must have attended and should have attended 8 out of 10 sessions and remain 75 minutes in each session. And the certificate after this session will be mailed to you through email in 2 weeks. So congratulations, everyone who are qualified for this certificate. I would like to introduce you the today's session sequence. Firstly, we will have Dr. Carlos Cardillo from the University of Nevada. And then we will have Dr. Yonghwan Kim from Seoul National University and Smart Radar System. And then we will have a Q&A session. And to celebrate the final session of this series, Mr. Bo-Gyun Shim, head of United Nations Project Office on Governance, will give us a final closing remark. First of all, I would like to invite and introduce Dr. Carlos Cardillo of Nevada University. Dr. Carlos Cardillo brings a range of experience to his role as director of the University of Nevada, Reno's Nevada Center for Applied Research. As a professional with a history of directing teams, he has served as research director in startup companies and for the U.S. Department of Defense. Dr. Cardillo also served as a vice president for R&D in a research institution and a CFO in a startup medical company in New York. Dr. Cardillo has developed, implemented, and successfully executed large research programs sponsored by the U.S. Department of Transportation and the U.S. Department of Defense, including projects with the Special Operations Command and the Office of Naval Research. Additional research managing experience includes industrial research programs in mining operations, semiconductor manufacturing, and drug development. I hope everyone can get the insight about the applied science, applied research in terms of how we can innovate businesses and industries based on SDG and ESG. Please join me to welcome Dr. Carlos. Dr. Cardillo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'm gonna upload the presentation. Hi, everyone, and thank you for being on this series of presentations. As stated, my name is Carlos Cardillo. I'm the director of the Nevada Center for Applied Research at the University of Nevada, Reno. This presentation is going to be looking at sustainability development goals that we are also tying these with environmental, social, and governance, which is in a way looking for investment that seeks some type of positive return, long-term impact in society, the environment, and the performance of businesses and startups. So in essence, the presentation or the perspective that I will bring to this presentation is purely academic, and also with a direct tie to the local state government. So in a way, you can consider this a case study for how to manage this type of environments. Now, I'm going to start with a brief explanation of what the University of Nevada, Reno is. And in essence, the university is a land-grant institution that was founded in 1874. So we have 150 years of experience on higher education. It's a classified R1 university, which is a very high research activities, and it brings 1.1 billion on economic impact annually to the region. More than 800 million was invested in advanced labs, residence halls, and facilities since 2009, and still large amount of dollar investment are being poured into the university campus, as we see currently the university campus expanding. When we look at the region, we see that the university as a whole is strategically located on a fast-growing job market that is attracting global brands and encouraging entrepreneurs to move to the region. The close proximity to the San Francisco Bay Area and the Silicon Valley, the close proximity to Las Vegas, Los Angeles, has created in Reno an ecosystem that attracted these brand names like Tesla, Panasonic, Microsoft, Amazon, and a large number. I'm just showing here some of the logos of the main companies, but it's in the hundreds of companies that are moving into the region and the industrial park that is outside the Reno, Nevada area. Now, looking at the university ecosystem, what we are trying to create here, and I believe we were successful on creating this ecosystem that includes commercialization, entrepreneurialism, collaboration, and faculty competitiveness. So these four ingredients, I believe, are essential to create this ecosystem, to have the general idea that by having components like these, we are gonna attract entrepreneurs, we are gonna create a sustainable environment and ecosystem that will be innovative and will create this competitiveness, not only within the companies that come to the region to work with the university and expand, but also within faculty members working with these companies and the students that are part of the teams that faculty member brings as the essential team for companies when they are looking for services, product development, and anything that the university can provide as a whole. Now, NCAR, short for the Nevada Center for Applied Research, has been created with the idea to be this central location for the university to work and connect with the industry partner, the entrepreneurs, and the academic groups. We have seen opportunity when we decided to create the center, and the goal was to allow access to universities' sophisticated labs, equipment, and expertise to advance faculty discovery, entrepreneurs and industry, and of course to create this economic development and sustainable ecosystem that the environment will bring. Now, if we are looking at a formal definition of what the center is or what the goal for the center will be, the Nevada Center for Applied Research is a standalone applied research and development technology center that serves to enhance the global competitiveness of Nevada industry by leveraging the physical and intellectual assets of the University of Nevada, Reno. Our mission is to create professional, flexible, sustainable, market-responsive technology and innovation services that will stimulate the regional innovation-based economic development by aligning the needs of industry, startups, companies, researchers, students, and entrepreneurs with resources at the university. The center is part of the university innovation ecosystem within the Enterprise and Innovation Division. And the concept is funded through what is called the Knowledge Fund, which is supported by the Governor's Office of Economic Development and embraced and championed by the city of Reno. As you can see, this is a general development between academia and government, but to go a little further, what the center based the general idea of governance, creation of an ecosystem, sustainability, is what I like to call the triple Helic model, which is collaboration between industry, government, and academia. This collaboration has proven successful on the past year since the center was opened 5 years ago, and still moving forward with this relationship that we created between government, industry, and academia to develop different type of programs, projects, and ideas that I will explain briefly as we move forward with this presentation. Now, in order to have this ecosystem agile, moving at the speed of business and doing things in a way that will be fast and efficient, we needed to create basic elements that we are using so that when an industry partner comes with some general ideas, when an entrepreneur has an idea and wants to access resources at the university or any other development, such as initiatives or development that the government agencies may be willing to do with the university as a partner and industry partners that may be also part of this initiatives, what we did is create comprehensive contracts that are industry friendly. They have IP ideas, or the IP creation is very friendly as well, because when an industry partner comes and start doing some particular development, they want to make sure that anything that the company develop will be an IP that the company will keep. So we have created methods and ideas to be very fair and friendly with this IP development. And the contracts can be executed in 24 hours, which is what an industry partner or a governmental agency is looking for when it's time to do some development. We have created a network of extensive resources. These are called the core labs and the shared research facilities. The university has more than 55 core labs and shared research facilities that range from microbiology to engineering, earthquake simulation, and many others that you can find on the website when you go on unr.edu. The bottom line here is that this network of interconnected resources are centralized at the Nevada Center for Applied Research, so the access can be provided fast and efficiently. And of course, it's a cost-effective collaboration for what I mentioned on the comprehensive contracts and the extensive resources. Cost-effective collaboration because the prices are going to be competitive, and because the way these agreements and collaboration will be executed will be, once again, fast and efficient. Now, when we look at some of the infrastructure for the Nevada Center for Applied Research itself, and here I'm separating the core labs and the shared research facilities that I just mentioned with an infrastructure that was created as part of the ecosystem so that we can attract industry and we can sustain this attraction of industry partners to come to the region, start developing ideas, start building their companies from the ground up, and staying and being sustainable, and have the center being sustainable. We have created resources such as the Bioscience Entrepreneurial Lab, which is a wet lab incubator, fully equipped wet lab that opened the doors with a membership fee for industry partners or entrepreneurs that have an idea and have a company or want to develop something, and they don't have yet the capital for the initial investment that all this equipment that is required on a wet lab will be needed. In addition to that, we provide access to wet and dry labs. These are private spaces of different sizes. And these wet and dry labs are populated with companies that want to have a more private type of situation, because they can start at the Bioscience Entrepreneurial Lab, but then eventually they want to move to a more private setting because they will have their own equipment, they will hire more people, and from just the need of one bench, they will move into a larger space. We also provide office spaces for companies that are growing within our environment. And we have companies that have a combination of dry labs, wet labs, and office spaces, everything located at the Applied Research Facility. And at the same time, we have created different labs that are also oriented for industry testing. And one example will be the robotic arena, which is a large high bay with tall ceilings that has cameras around, and is a drone testing area that is annexed to a ground robot testing area that is also annexed to an autonomous vehicle development program that is part of the entire robotic arena and the robotic initiative that we have created. And by creating these resources, we believe that we can, and we did, attract companies, not only on the bioscience spectrum, but also on technology in general, battery development, robotics development, autonomous vehicle, and many other robotic infrastructures. We also have created research programs, and these are more in line with the core labs and shared research facilities. I mentioned the autonomous car programs, the bioscience entrepreneurial lab, but also we work very closely with the Center for Civil Engineering and Earthquake Research. We have one of the largest earthquake simulator in the country, and we are building the second largest in the world next door to this one, which is a very attractive infrastructure for some companies and governmental agencies that need to do this type of testing. We have the evolutionary computer lab system, material characterization, industry excellence, the high performance computing facility with our partner Switch that is outside the city of Reno and is the largest data collocation in the world. They are housing our high performance computing facility, the Nevada Proteomics Center, the Genomics Center, the Center for Bioinformatics, and every year we create 2 or 3 additional research programs that again are oriented to attract entrepreneurs and industry partners. Now, this is a snapshot of the resources that we have. Some of them I mentioned, the core labs, the high performance, the workspace, but at the same time, on the research programs, we also create initiatives such as the Intelligent Mobility Initiative, that is a user-centered, open innovation living lab ecosystem that is being created in the state of Nevada, but particularly in Reno, Nevada. We have initiatives on advanced manufacturing by working with the Nevada Industry Excellence and creating an environment for advanced manufacturing teaching and advanced manufacturing development. And as I mentioned before, the robotic environment that we have created within the university campus and ecosystem. Robotic and advanced autonomy. Now, when we look at this model that was created as a general model for sustainable development goals for an environmental and social governance, and the initial seed capital investment that we have to see what type of positive return we can get in the long term and short term that will impact our region, our society, environment, and the performance of businesses. These are some of the key performance indicators that we have collected in the past 5 years. This is an 8-year investment that has a seed capital, as I mentioned, from the Knowledge Fund investment, which is a state of Nevada funding sponsored by the Governor's Office of Economic Development. The Nevada Center for Applied Research through the University of Nevada, Reno has received $8.7 million. And by developing this infrastructure that I mentioned, and by attracting the companies in the way that I mentioned, and by being proactive, fast, and efficient, we were able to, in 5 years, bring 108. This number is a little higher right now because it keeps growing, in venture capital that was raised by the affiliated companies and startups that are working with us. The Nevada Center for Applied Research at the Applied Research Facility right now has 24 companies that are incubating with us. We have companies that been with us and left, and those are in the number of 14 companies that started with us, either at the BEL, Bioscience Entrepreneurial Lab, or a smaller space. They grow to the point that they needed to have their own spaces, or to the point that they move from prototyping to full development of products. And these are graduated companies. So anyway, 108 millions, over $100 million in venture capital raised by these companies, 181 companies, agencies, organizations that are currently engaged through membership or through fee-for-service agreements that we have with these organizations. We were able to create within these companies more than 490 jobs by these affiliated companies, from which I don't have the exact number, but I can positively say that more than half or 60% of this hiring are university students that start in an internship program with these companies. They grow with the company, and as they complete their degree or their program, the companies hire them, and they are part now of this new development and new ecosystem. We have 29 companies that are based, that have university-based operation. I mentioned 24 that are at the applied research facility. The others are scattered across campus. And in general, we have $25 million that the Nevada Center for Applied Research was able to collect in grants, contracts, gifts, and agreements. So $25 million on an $8.7 million plus all the other key performance indicator, I believe it was a good return on investment. And I believe this is gonna continue growing as we continue developing what we believe is being developed. In closing, with all this, I like to say that the center, to be able to manage this and to be able to be sustainable and continuously attract these companies, we are not based on a particular model. We are not based on a development that we will define, and when a company comes, we will let them know how they will be able to work with us. It's the other way around. When a company comes, they will challenge us and they will let us know what their needs are for resources, whether it is equipment, spaces, human resources, student, faculty, and expertise. And we will work with them in an agile way so that we can adjust the model that they are looking for to be able to provide and deliver what this entrepreneurial group or what these agencies, governmental agencies, or what these startup or spin-outs are looking for. So in a way, we continuously are in an agile environment. We don't stay within the confines of a particular standard operational procedure, and we move at the speed of business, as I said in the beginning of this presentation. So with this, I'd like to just show you this case study, if we want to call it like that, of a center that in 5 years was able to get to this point, and I believe it will continue growing and bringing economic development to the region, sustainability, and a good model for sustainable development. So I like to close and thank everyone for listening. I will stand by after the next presentation for the Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Cardillo, for your excellent presentation on how the University of Nevada is trying to trigger the spirit of sustainable development through your research center. The next presenter for today, with whom I would like to honorably introduce, is Dr. Yonghwan Kim. Dr. Yonghwan Kim is the Chief Executive Officer of Korea-based Smart Radar System Incorporation. Smart Radar System created the world-leading innovation in 4D imaging radars. The 4D imaging radars have applications not only in autonomous driving, but also in various industrial applications that will include anti-drone, smart healthcare, security, safety, and many others. The 4D image radar has a strong position as a cornerstone to smart cities around the world. Dr. Kim also serves as a visiting professor at Seoul National University and leads foreign students from various countries to entrepreneurship in startup environment. Before joining Smart Radar System as CEO, Dr. Kim served as various positions within LG Group as a vice president in several business units, new business development, global alliance, and startup investment. Prior to joining LG Electronics, Dr. Kim had built his career at Cisco Systems and AT&T Lab in the Silicon Valley. So Dr. Kim will deliver his presentation on the theme of triggering global entrepreneurship with 4D AI image radar. Friends, please join me to welcome Dr. Kim. Dr. Kim, the floor is yours whenever you are ready.
Thank you, Dr. Song, for your warm introduction. And then hello, everybody. I see more than in the call, and then I'm really glad to have this opportunity. And then, as Dr. Song mentioned, I'd like to talk about how the 4D AI Sorry, I was momentarily kicked out of the call, but I am back. And then let me spend a few minutes to go over how the 4D AI image radar changed the world. So as Dr. Song mentioned, this is Paul Kim, and then I'm a CEO of a Smart Radar System as a visiting professor at SNU. And then below me is Dr. YJ Kim. He's my younger brother. He's a CTO of a Smart Radar System. We have a headquarters in Pangyo, and then we have a subsidiary research center located in Seoul campus, SNU. Also, we do have our subsidiary located in Irvine, California. That's how we do business in the States. We are heavily in for R&D, and then we are early stage of the startup. Let me spend a few minutes what kind of problem or issues we'd like to address. First of all, let me play a video clip. So I know this was recorded in Korean, but what happened was last year, June, in Taiwan, there was an accident by a Tesla Model 3. The car ran into a stalled truck and then got involved in an accident. And then also there was a couple of accidents related to the Tesla. The one particularly in the right, it was happened in March 2018 in San Francisco area by the Model X. The main reason why this is happening is this. This is very important because recently, Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, he announced that he's not going to use a radar anymore, but he's going to rely on the 8 cameras on the Tesla for autonomous driving. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but the people in our camp were really worried about not using the radar. Here's the reason why Tesla is not relying on radar. Normally, the radar on the Tesla car, which we call 3D radar, which utilize XY two-dimensional data combined with the velocity. And because of that, it doesn't recognize the height. So whenever it passes this kind of overpass, Tesla generate the phantom braking kind of a symptom. So without any reasons, Tesla stops whenever it meets any kind of obstacles in front. In that case, camera has to kick up, and then it has to recognize the stored vehicle. But in reality, the camera may be confused with the car with the skies in the background. Normally, in this situation, the drivers are not paying attention to the driving. That's how Tesla cars are involved in the accident. This is a very interesting picture of the Tesla vehicle. The dots. The green dots and the yellow dots are the object recognized by the radar. For example, in front of the same lane, the front car was detected by the radar as a green circle. But on the left-hand side, the incoming car also was detected by the radar, but accidentally the camera marked it as a stationary sign, not a vehicle. So there is a kind of a flaw in the detection algorithm in the camera systems. So when Elon Musk announced that he's not going to use a radar anymore, some people are really worried about Tesla's capability. On top of that, here is one more picture. This is a picture recently posted in the Tesla forum. What's happening is Tesla camera recognized the person in the backyard, in the front yard, as a deer. So normally it should be recognized as a person, but the algorithm has some error. So the car recognized person as a deer. So I don't know if you can rely on this kind of camera system for your life when you drive autonomous autopilot mode in the Tesla. So basically, we are a 4-year-old company, and then starting from 2017, we've been focused on developing so-called 4D image radars, and then we are recognized by the governments and the industries and the venture capital communities as well. So until last year, December, we got altogether $16 million investment from the various investors from the Silicon Valley, Korea, and Japan as well. Then starting from end of last year, we sequentially announced our product for the autonomous driving and then the drone detection, and then it will be followed by another image radar for the home healthcare use cases. So this is a simple example. Today I'm going to spend a few minutes on how the 4D image radar works out, and then after that I'm going to spend the time to let you know how we help students from around the world to start their own company based on the radar technology. So on the left-hand side, this is a traditional radar, which will be installed in the trash collection truck in the States. The main purpose is to detect the person, trash bins, and then the car. So this is a traditional radar. That's why all the objects are detected as on dots. But on your right-hand side, there will be images created by the image radar. So one of our engineers, he's performing the martial arts and then taekwondo. And then since we have a virtual MIMO, with that we can actually capture the image or the movement of a person with our radars. So if you carefully look at it, you will see the movement of the kicking and everything. But some people will argue that because even though we are claiming this as an image radar, the image quality is no match for the quality of the images created by the camera. But if you combine other analog signatures with the deep learning algorithms, then you can actually find other insights based on the radar as well. So this is a collaboration between us and then the Seoul National University located in the Sihung. So this building is called the Future Mobility Technical Center. Inside of this building, there is a track so that you can actually test out your radars or the LiDARs cameras in the real autonomous driving track. The length of the track is 360 meters. And then with that, we are collaborating with the Seoul National University to go after various markets, including the vehicle to VTC infrastructure, connected life, public safety, and the public health care. Lastly, followed by the school zone security system as well. So these are the opportunities which will be created by our advanced 4D imaging radars. So last year, together with the Professor Huang, we approached the government officers and then got a grant so that we can actually try out our image radars on the real cars in the SNU campus. So for example, in this case, we installed 5 of our image radars on a Hyundai Ioniq, which is a electric car, and then transformed to be autonomous driving cars. So with the 5 image radars, the car is collecting radar signals from 360-degree view, and then with this success, we're going to extend this installation into the bus as well, and with the small car and the bus, we're going to run on the several routes in the SNU city to collect all the data. So when it comes to like testing the image radars, collection of the data is very important, and then that's how we are collaborating with the Seoul National University. So let me play the video clip, which shows the result of the collaboration between us and the Seoul National University. So in this case, we ran the small car with our image radars on the track, and then the colors represent the different heights. And then as you see, all the images, the points are collected by 5 of our image radars, and then the quality is very similar to that of LiDARs. And then this is the case where we use our radar to collect data in the Seoul National University at the Gwanak campus. As you see, the radar detects the incoming cars and the other vehicles as well. And then lastly, this is the application where you use radars for the ultra short range for parking. So the main purpose is to create a 360-degree view surrounding the car with the radars. So probably to surprise to some of you, the radar was, fiber radar was able to draw this kind of very high quality pictures of the surrounding cars. So this is a kind of a result between the collaboration with the VDCL, which is another SNU research lab located in SNU campus, the GRC, and then us. So we together, we bring autonomous driving to the world. So with that, actually, we made a great success achievement with the collaboration between us and then Seoul National University. So this was the news article appeared in the newspaper early June. So with the kind of a result we created with the Seoul National University, we got a contract with a big company called Mando. And then in developing ultra high resolution 4D image radar. After that, somehow miraculously, the stock of the Mando rose 3 days in a row. So this was amazing because the small companies' technology can trigger the big companies' stock 3 days in a row. Nobody expected this. And then this is a result of the collaboration between us and then Seoul National University. We are very proud of this. And then we are not just generating the point cloud. On your left-hand side, this is a point cloud generated for the person moving. So on top of that, we ran 2 TensorFlows and then to figure out the behavior of the people. For example, on the right-hand side, there are 5 people individually tracked by the radar. And then if somebody falls down, immediately the radar will notice that. In this picture, the camera didn't do anything. This is just for the viewing purpose. And then all the algorithms was run on the radar itself. Now, on the bottom of the slide, we actually created a real hospital environment in the Seoul National University. which has the room has three beds with the curtains, wheelchairs, and then any other gadgets which might be present in the real hospital cases. So the mechanism is this: on your left-hand side, the radar generates this kind of 4D point cloud. So with that, we ran the deep learning algorithm to figure it out the behavior of the person. In case of radar can penetrate into the curtain, not like the camera. So radar will know what's happening in the curtained area. And then as you see in the picture, person is lying down. So this is very useful in a sense that the radar can preserve the privacy, but while still be able to monitor the behavior of any kind of a patient's behavior. So with this kind of success, we are doing business with telecommunication companies and then other hospitals in Korea as well. Luckily, we were recognized by the industry in the worldwide, and then with our 4D image radars, we can detect any kind of object without any contact. Privacy will be protected, and then there is no need of the light because it is relying on the microwave. And then the device itself has a built-in AI engine so that it could work as a mobile edge devices. So with that, we were recognized by the global research company as a front runner in the race of the 4D image radar. And then last year, I was recognized as one of the 10 effective people in the automotive industry. I think it's because if we make this kind of image radar as a possible feasible product, then it's going to change the autonomous driving industry fundamentally. And then in some sense, we are arguing with Elon Musk at Tesla so that we can, Tesla may be using our 4D image radar with their camera systems in the future. So with the Seoul National University, we done all the work with the autonomous driving. Now it's time for us to expand into the smart city. So with our capability, combined effort, we are going after other market segments, including smart traffic, transportation, drone, healthcare, and the smart factory as well. So we have so many opportunities ahead of us with this 4D image radars. So this is one example. For example, this is to detect the drones in the air with the radar only. So this customer is located in the United States, and then previously they were relying on stereo camera to detect the drones in the air. That's going to be a potential enemy, and then they use the stereo camera to detect the drone. The problem of using the stereo camera is that sometimes it gets confused with the cloud behind the drone, or sometimes it gets blinded by the sunlight. So that's why they started using our radar for 2 years ago. And then this year, the radar is up into a mass production. Now they are deploying this in the real field. On the left-hand side, this is a comparison between the performance of the computer vision and then the performance of the radar. And then, as you see, in terms of detection of the range, angle, elevation, everything matches between the performance of the radar and the computer vision. So that's why they decide to get rid of the computer vision and they purely rely on image radar to detect the drones. Another, very high-profile application is healthcare. So with our healthcare algorithm, we worked with the Korean government to supply more than 100,000 units of radar for elderly care. And then it was followed by many efforts with the telecommunication company and then several hospitals for detection of the fall down. So in the next slide, let me show you one example. This one example is to detect the behavior, the way the people walk. So it's called a gait analysis. And then if you do this kind of analysis, you couldn't know if the person has any kind of nerve issues, central nerve issues, or any kind of a small nerve issues. So it will be highly useful before the doctors make a decision to see if the patient really need any kind of treatment or not. And then on the bottom, this one is another useful kind of application asked by the Samsung Hospital in Korea. So before I mentioned that the radar was very useful in terms of detection of the fall down, but what's really important in real cases, they want us to detect the moment the person falls down, before the falls down. For example, in this video clip, the person is moving towards the bed, and then he's sitting down on the bed, and then eventually he's going to lie down on the bed. After a while, he's going to decide to leave the bed, and then he stand up and then move around towards the bottom of the bed, and then he decide to leave it. So they want to detect this right moment so that they can, the patients, the guardians know if the person is about to leave. This is a very unusual situation, but according to the hospitals, detection of the fall is important, but detection of the moment before the fall actually happens is more important. So this is was feasible by our 4D image radar combined with the deep learning algorithms. So I got a very good news for you all. And then recently we got a deal with a telecommunication company to install our radar system in the subway restrooms. There are many subway lines in Korea, and then this is a subway line 8. And then they do have 17 stations. In every stations, they do have this kind of restrooms, and then we're going to install our radar in every room of the restrooms to detect if anything happens in the passengers. So recently, sometimes, some of the passengers, they went to the restroom, but they fell down, but after a while, they were not detected at all, so they passed away. So the subway system, they want to prevent that kind of accident from happening. That's why they decide to use radar as a critical sensor to detect that kind of moments. So this is just the beginning of a wider deployment of radar sensors in the public places. So it will be followed by other subway systems and then other railroad systems as well. And then by combining all the capability, now you have a capability to go after many smart spaces, including office, home, and then restrooms. Also, you could protect people in the industrial application or any kind of a city environment. You can use a radar to protect the civilians from accidents. So this is an example of the office, restroom, and then construction field, and then the trash collection trucks as well. So from now on, I'm going to switch my gear and then talk about how we collaborate with the Seoul Regional University to train the students from the foreign countries. So this is a Seung area, and then with a combined effort between Seoul Regional University, Seung City, and then smart radar system, we like to transform this Seung City into a small Silicon Valley. So eventually, with a combined effort, we like to work on the autonomous ship or any kind of drone systems as well. So with this kind of vision in our mind, we are training the students from all around the world with working with the ITPP, which is an International Technology Professional Program at Seoul Regional University. So it's been already 2 years ever since we take students from Seoul Regional University and then train them. So this was a picture. We signed an MOU with Professor Wang early 2020. So after that, we were we have been very active in training students. And then they even came to our office and then do a real kind of trials with our radar system. And then on your right-hand side, bottom of the slide, this is the algorithm developed by one of the students during this semester. So there are two ways we can train the students. First one is a internship. So we get the last winter, we got the 5 students from Seoul National University. So before they came in, I kind of came up with a proposal to allocate the people in the right places. So there are 3 places, segments. One is a development of actual radar system based the healthcare system, followed by the business modeling. Also after that, since this is a single radar system, we like to ask the student to come up with any kind of cloud-based infrastructure systems as well. With this kind of proposal in their mind, actually they spend the time to try out our radar system and then design their own algorithms. So they spend 10 weeks with us. In the very beginning of the internship during the winter, this was an early stage of the internship, so they had to spend their time to figure it out what the radar does and then the principles of the radar. After that, they installed our program on their PC and then became ready for a real tryout. But by doing so, when they do that, they went through a lot of error cases. They spent a lot of time, day and night, to figure it out how this kind of system works on their PC environment. And then once they do have this kind of environment set up, they were ready to run deep learning algorithms. And then with that, they tested a lot of fall down cases. So they even use our labs to actually simulate the fall down environment cases. But still, that wasn't enough. So initially, they did not have a good kind of algorithms. This is the real picture when they spend the time with us during the winter internship. And then at the last week of the internship, finally they figured out the algorithm. So this is how they detected a fall down with their own algorithms. So after that, they became very interested in our radar system. So they want to utilize our radar system to start their own company when they come back to their country. Another interesting topic was to come up with a business model, and then we got a student from other foreign countries. He's very good at kind of designing the business cases. So this was the logic tree he used during the class, during the internship, to figure it out the feasible business models. And then with that, I believe he came up with more than 10 business cases. So he's really ready to start his own company when he goes back to his company after finishing the degree program at Seoul National University. So this is one collaboration case where we utilize our internship opportunity to train the students. And then the second case is actually I'm a visiting professor at Seoul National University. So I spent this semester to teach 9 students, and then I grouped them into 3 groups. And then each group has a focused approach on their own business cases. So they spend a lot of time trying out the radar use cases, and then we met every week to get a review on their business plan or how they do test our radar system with their own proposed architecture. So this is kind of activities I have done with the students to train them. And then these are the ideas. The first idea was a radar cam technology. This is by combining the radar and the camera together, they want to go after the small markets in their country for a security system. So they named this project the radar cam, since this is a combination between radar and the camera. And then it was followed by the security system in the education sector. And then this team, they even came up with their own algorithm to detect if the student is moving into the dangerous area or not. So this was a very successful kind of a collaboration happened then during the semester. And then I like this idea. This is proposed by one of the team members, and then they want to design the company which utilize drone system combined with the radar. So they want to use radar to search for the people in case of a disaster. Now they are really serious about creating their own company when they finish their degree program and then when they go back to their country. And then we have one more very interesting idea proposed by the team members. This is a kind of a smart manhole system which can measure the flow rate in case of a flooding. So even though this is a very early stage idea, I'm sure they will have, once they have time, they're going to make this out of big business out of this kind of ideation. So this is a kind of the way we are collaborating with the Seoul National University to so that they can start as an entrepreneurship based on the radar system, which again is a very innovative product in the worldwide. So I like to extend this kind of a collaboration model in the worldwide with the help of the UN. So I wish we can kind of create many kind of opportunity with this kind of advanced technologies. Okay, that's it for my presentation, and then thank you for listening to my presentation. Dr. Song, it's all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, for your excellent presentation with lots of business cases that your technology can create. And thank you for all the efforts you have been making in collaboration with Seoul National University to educate young leaders from developing countries with the new ideas about innovative businesses that can promote the sustainability of their countries and their societies. Now we would like to have some Q&A time with Dr. Cardillo and Dr. Kim. I would like to ask a few questions that I picked up from the Q&A box. I'd like to ask one easy question and one difficult question for each of you.
Okay.
Okay. I think I would like to start with Dr. Kim.
Yep.
You have a really excellent new technology solution for the society in terms of autonomous driving and as well as safety life environment for people. As a leading business professional with promising business ahead of you, and then you did lots of work with internship with students from Seoul National University.
That's right. Yeah.
What did you do to instill the spirit of sustainability and then SDG and ESG considerations into their heart so that they can create the businesses that can contribute to their communities and help people better? Could you tell us about your secret?
Say that again, the last, can you repeat the question? Yeah.
Yes. What did you tell the people from on your internship program to create businesses that can help people better and more?
That's right. So when we started this company with my brother, our main kind of vision was not to create any profitable company. I mean, that's an obvious goal, but we like to affect the entire world in a good sense. For example, I had my career started in Silicon Valley, and then the way Silicon Valley prospered was a kind of shock to me. And then especially the case with the PayPal. They call the PayPal mafia. With the success of a PayPal, and then they have a branches into Tesla, YouTube. So many companies came out of PayPal. So we like to have that kind of experience repeated in Korea and the worldwide as well. So that's why from the beginning, we decided to make a kind of a platform for all around the world so that they can utilize our technology to help their own country and then create their own company as well. And then as an entrepreneur, I do have a strong belief that starting a small company, make it big, and then do a good contribution into the world. That's kind of a very positive cycle, what we should do, create with this kind of a collaboration. So this was the message we delivered to the students.
Great, thank you so much. I think the students were fully inspired through your stories. I think that the next question can go to Dr. Cardillo, while Mr. Kim can be prepared for a difficult question later. Dr. Cardillo, did you find the new young generations, the new young entrepreneurs, whether they are different from previous generations in terms of thinking about the sustainability and goodwill for the global community, in terms of their philosophy, their value system, and their spirit, so that they can think about sustainability and ESG and SDG more than they think about economic achievement or technological innovation. Is it a difficult question?
No, I think it's very easy because in my experience, I can see newer generation being more conscious of environment, sustainability, and the need for the betterment of the
I think we are.
Some of them, they may, yes.
Dr. Cardillo, sorry, we lost you for about 15 seconds. So could you maybe repeat what you have said?
Sure. Yes, what I'm saying is that the newer generations are more conscious of environment and the betterment of the planet. I think they are more focused on developing technology that may help in those areas, and they see themselves as moving into a future that may be uncertain and unstable, and they want to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. I am not saying that older entrepreneurs may not have looked into those areas, but I think the vast majority of new students and entrepreneurs and the younger generation are very much more conscious and focused on development of green, sustainable, and good technology for the planet.
Yeah, that's a great news, actually. We indeed need a new spirit of the young generations. And I got a new question here, which can be difficult or easy, but from Tricia Gatera, probably she is from Africa. So Dr. Carlos, does your university offer exchange or capacity building program for African universities or African students? Can you answer to this question? Seems like we lost Dr. Carlos again.
Dr.
Carlos, are you back? Can you hear us?
I just switched networks because the previous one was unstable, so I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
I just couldn't hear anything.
The US really needs a new infrastructure, right?
Okay, That's a
You
good
asked me
comment. Yeah. So actually, there was a question for you, Dr. Carlos. So Dr. Carlos,
Yes.
this is a question from someone from Africa named Tricia Gatera. So Dr. Carlos, does your university offer exchange or capacity building program for African universities or students?
Well, there is an international exchange program, and we are part of the USAC program. There are several countries that are part of it. I don't have the list, the precise list of countries, but the short answer will be we are always open for exchange programs. We're always open to listen to students that may have an interest and the knowledge that they want to expand. So if you are interested, please just try to contact either the international group or send me an email, and I'll see how I can connect you with some other people at the university. Again, I don't know if for specific African countries, which one are the ones that the university may have some programs. But the only thing I know is that the university is very open to international collaboration.
Yeah, Dr. Carlos, in that wise, I guess if you can type in your email address to the chatting box, that will help many people find the right route to connect to you. Thank you. Great, thank you so much. I think that the next question will go to Dr. Kim. So
sure.
the amazing solution for the imaging radar system, how do you see the world can use your system or your solution to provide a safer environment for the general people more? Like, do you have an ideas about how people can use your technologies for like preservation of forest, water, and all the natural environment around city? Or do you see some other possibilities as well? Could you tell us?
Yeah. So when it comes to application specific to any countries in Africa or the South America as well, since we are away from the country, we probably wouldn't know what kind of application will be right for the country or not. So with that in our mind, I utilized this semester's class to test that out. So initially, I proposed many ideas, including the healthcare, advanced healthcare. But with all the students from the African countries, they told me that healthcare probably in its early stages in Africa, their more concern is about the security itself. So that's why we selected the project right for the African country first with the security system. And then it wasn't me who designed the entire solution. I asked the people who actually came from the specific countries. They are the ones who actually came up with the architecture for their own country. And then I also asked them to figure it out, the feasibility of the solution as well, including the pricing mechanisms as well. So that's kind of a whole exercise will have to be done, I think, for 2 or 3 years down the road. And then we're going to select a few countries, for example, including starting with Ethiopia or any kind of countries. And then I think what matters is the funding, because of the GDP differences, the affordability may be different country by country. So luckily, we have a variety of lines of the product which can be suitable for any kind of countries. And hopefully, in 2 or 3 years, down the road, we are in the mass production of the radar system for the advanced countries. So we can take advantage of selling our radar into the advanced country, and then to go after African countries with much lower price with a better kind of affordability. So that is our plan.
That's great.
Yeah.
So many more people will be able to benefit it from your technologies. And as well, I think I would like to ask the same question that went to Dr. Carol Cardillo, again to you, Dr. Kim. So do you have other plans to have internship or training invitees into your company to help other people from other countries as well can learn about the 4D radar systems and how they can utilize the new technology for their communities?
Yes, I do have a plan for that. But this time, since we learned for last 2 years, I like to have interns so that they can come up with their own business models instead of spending time on practicing the radars. I will first let them know how the radar works out, and then after that, I want to ask the students or interns to figure it out the specific needs for their own countries, so that we can be ready for starting a new company down the road. So we are ready to take an internship.
That's a great news. Thank you so much, Dr. Kim. To both of you, we have one final question. Actually, Dr. Kim as well, could you write your email address into Q&A box chat box, so that the people can have a right connection to you? Thank you so much. So the next question is from Yu Byung-woo, Mr. Yu Byung-woo. His question is to both the doctors. Since you both have numerous experiences with many young future leaders from many countries, I would like to ask, as one of youngsters who is wishing to become a global leader in the future, what were some of the common factors that doctors noticed from successful young leaders from who are not? I guess, what are the attributes of young leaders who can lead better after study or after training for entrepreneurship? So I would like to ask Dr. Cardillo first for your answer to this question.
Well, yeah, I'll be happy to. That's we can run a little bit into the philosophical definition of what will be the attributes for a leader or for an entrepreneur. In my view and my experience working with this type of individuals, I think the best attribute will be perseverance. When you are out and about and you have ideas, you have this necessity to lead or to develop something, it's not going to be an easy task, in the sense that you may fail many times, and the failure has to be, the part of the recipe for success. So if you don't persevere or pivot and persevere, that's kind of the main ingredients for startups and entrepreneurs. If you're going in one direction and you find walls in front of you, you persevere. Now, if the perseverance or the way you move forward is not really getting you anywhere, and there is no roadblock anymore, it's just not the right way to go, then you pivot and you look into something that you may twist a little bit, that general idea, and start something new, something different in a different direction. That is most likely the way I understood the question, and the way I can think in terms of what will be the best ingredients for moving forward. Pivot and persevere.
Thank you, Dr. Cardillo, for your wonderful answer to this question. So now, Dr. Kim, could you comment on this one?
Yeah, again, being able to fail gracefully, that's going to be very important. And fail many times, that is more important. And then on top of that, somehow youngsters they need to have a lot of opportunity to be exposed globally. So even for myself, I went to States and then educated in the States, and then had my career in Silicon Valley, and then came back to LG as a big company, and then I traveled to many countries, and they experienced many things. That altogether gave me a kind of a global perspective, and then global experiences as well. So that is one of the secret of being a successful entrepreneur. So as a kind of members here, I'm sure you will give a better chance to youngsters, young generation, to get exposed into many cultural experiences. That's going to be very, very important.
Thank you so much. Your brilliant answer to the question. I think this will conclude our Q&A session as well as your excellent presentations. I would like to thank you, Dr. Cardillo and Dr. Kim again for your insightful and wonderful presentation for today. And because you are both on the front lines of business and education at the same time, you gave us a really insightful and deeply reasoning answer to so many questions the audience might have today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Pleasure being here.
Now, I think we will wrap up with final comment. Joey. Sorry. I would like to conclude this session, but I would like to thank Mr. Shin Bo-gyun, of the head of United Nations Project Office on Governance, for giving Seoul National University and GRC the opportunity to participate in this session series. This session series was an extremely precious moment and opportunity for GRC to be in the partnership with the UN Project Office on Governance to actually tell so many people about the importance of sustainability and SDG and ESG. So it has been our great honor to be part of this session series. And thank you, Mr. Bo-gyun Shim. And I would like to give the floor to you, Mr. Shim.
Thank you, Professor Song. It is a great pleasure to be here at the final session of the Governance Capacity Session Series. At the outset, I would like to start with a very special acknowledgement and warm thanks to Professor Hwang, Professor Song, and our colleagues at the Global Research and Development Business Center of Seoul National University for co-organizing the Governance Capacity Development Session Series on strengthening public governance and accelerating innovation to achieve the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. Ladies and gentlemen, because of your valuable contributions and meaningful engagement, each and every single one of you has helped in making the Governance Capacity Development Session Series a wonderful experience. I hope that this session series has provided you with the common knowledge base to discuss and share general knowledge on the framework of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the critical importance of strengthening public governance and building effective, accountable, and transparent institutions at all levels for SDG implementation. The critical role of public institutions as laid out in Goal 16 of the 2030 Agenda is a cross-cutting enabler for the achievement of all the other goals. Without effective, inclusive, accountable institutions, there can be no progress in the delivery of services such as health, education, clean water and sanitation, transportation, among others. We need strong public institutions at all levels to foster new ways of working and thinking, such as the environment, social, and governance, so-called ESG approaches that can build on the SDGs. Let's build on the success of the session series to accelerate the promise to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Moving forward, we have received insightful feedback from participating government officials from many countries over the course of 10 sessions. Upon careful review, we'll follow up with your requests for possible capacity development activities. We are fully committed to supporting governments to building back better from the COVID-19 pandemic through inclusive, resilient, and sustainable recovery strategies. Let me extend my sincere appreciation to our distinguished participants once again for their active participation in and valuable contribution to the session series. I look forward to seeing you again, taking part in the UNPOG and the SNU GRC activities to build on your ideas to support the SDGs. Thank you again. Stay healthy, stay well, and stay connected. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Shim. I think we can say goodbye to everyone for now. Those famous. Au revoir. See you again. 또 만나요. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.